regulation.
Right.
It must have been that. Is it Damien Cook? Somewhat Cook, anyway.
Okay.
Cook is his name, isn't it? The one of the South Sockers.
I didn't.
Did a sort of dangerous tackle, basically lifted Cameron Munster. I think it must have been that he's referring to, because that gave a kickable penalty from 40 metres out that Cam Smith slotted over, and then they went into golden point. Makes
sense. Then there was no glorious return to rugby league for Jared Hayne, though, as the Titans went down 14 points to 24 against the New Zealand Warriors.
Actually, there was a bit of glory for him, because his first two interactions in the game was an absolutely incredible cover tackle, just bringing his man down, and then his next was a take from a kick that just he had no right to be the man who won the take and in attack, and it was brilliant. But yeah, not quite enough. He did have a try assist, I think, with a kick. He was positively involved. He sort of played a bit of half back, a bit of standoff, and sort of edged to the centres a little bit in the first half, and then got more involved across the pitch in the second half. But it was Solomon Akata is the man, to be honest. What a machine that Fendi put on for his long range try. I'd recommend trying to pick that up on some of the Facebook pages or Twitter feeds or what have you.
I've got YouTube.
Absolutely see you later to Anthony Don.
Right.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. West Tigers were 26 points to 14 winners over the North Queensland Cowboys.
Massive upset.
Yeah. Big result.
Brilliant performance as well. To be honest, it never looked in doubt, and Thurston was back for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But never really seemed in doubt.
Yeah. Tigers in incline. And it was the final game of the weekend, saw the Panthers of Penrith beat the Roosters of Sydney by 38 points to 18.
Yeah, sort of an expected result. Hardacre played 25 minutes from the bench. I've not watched this back, but the couple of comments we got floating through suggest he wasn't up to much.
Playing very well. Okay, so what does that do to the standings down under mark?
The Storm are now top ahead of the Sharks. The Raiders and the Bulldogs making up the top four. The Cowboys and the Broncos are in fifth and sixth. They're not quite safe in the eighth, but they're getting there. The Warriors made their way into eighth, just behind the Panthers, and just ahead of West Tigers. The three of those are separated by points difference only at the bottom end of the eighth. The Titans are 10th, a point behind. The Seagulls and Dragons aren't quite out of it yet on 20 points in 11th and 12th.
Wonderful. Okay, our pet amateur side, the Eels, how are they getting on down in Brentwood?
Well, it looks like the end of the road, unfortunately, this year for the Eels. Spoiler alert, but the Eels Open Age team played their final league game of the season against top of the table Bedford Tigers, knowing a win would secure a playoff spot. The Eels came out firing, but the Tigers showed their quality and why they're sitting top of the ladder to secure a 50 points to 30 win. This left the Eels on the same points as the St Ives Roosters in the league, but unfortunately the Roosters had a slightly better points difference, which means they took fourth spot and move on to the playoffs. A shame for Brentwood to just miss out, but a decent effort playing their first season in the Premiership division. The big achievement this year for the Open Age team was the growth of the squad, which meant they were able to arrange 2 fixtures most weekends as the numbers grew to a squad of over 40 players. So that's amazing.
That is great growth, isn't it?
He's also given us Aaron's also given us word that next week the Wigan Warriors are down in Brentwood to hold a 2-day training camp. Then on the Saturday the Ryland Sharks are making the trip to Essex to play a game against the Eels under 13. So we will get some more updates as the summer floats through, but I just want to take this occasion when the sort of formal league structure part of the seasons are over for our Eels, to thank Aaron for his involvement this year with the show. His updates have been absolutely brilliant. They've been rounded and informative, and like you were saying, we know a couple of the names. Robson Groom we'll be looking out for. So that's really great, and
it has been fantastic. And for those of you who might have sort of come late to the podcast who aren't necessarily regular listeners, Aaron got into listening to us, the way that most people do, just sort of discovered us really on social media, and then started listening to us, I believe, as he was driving his van around in the south, is that right? And he would listen to us and got in touch, and through that let us know about his involvement with the Brentwood Eels, and through that they became our sort of amateur club of choice for the year to follow. So we'll be looking for a way of keeping in touch with Aaron next year, but also finding a new amateur side to follow and report on. So if you're listening and you're involved in amateur rugby league and fancy getting your team a bit more exposure, such as it is through the Super League pod, then we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And obviously, like we keep in touch with the boys down at the Devon Sharks, we'll keep in touch with Aaron and the Eels. Any big games, any big occasions, or any of their players progressing into the senior ranks at the London Broncos and the likes, then we'll be all over it.
Absolutely. Right, that's the world of Rugby League taken care of. Let's take a look into the future now as we bring you our predictions for the second round of the Super 8s. Round 2 of the Super 8s then, Mark, and the weekend kicks off at the Select Security Stadium as Widnes take on Hull FC. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, the sight of the turnaround in the whole season, the lock-in or the lock-out, whichever way you want to look at it, the players taking charge and turning their fortunes around.
Radford Gate.
And I think so much water has travelled under that bridge since then that we've got a more solid side here. They have to rebuild from last week to Hull FC, so I don't expect it to be sparkling necessarily, but more solid. And I just think Widnes's queue is on the rack. I'm going to tip Hull FC to win on the road, 20 points to 12. This would be the first time in the Super 8s that a result has gone different to how the same result went in the regular season.
Well, let's see what happens. I tend to agree with you, although I don't necessarily think that Widnes will have put the queue fully on the rack. I think in the home games, that Dennis Betts is going to have his guys fired up and want to put on a show. I think as this part of the season progresses, you might see Widnes start to blood some youngsters, but I don't necessarily think that it'll happen straight away. So with those things in mind, whilst I do think Hull are going to win, I think it'll be closer than that. I've gone 16 points to 18 in favour of the Arley Birds. Castleford take on Wigan then, Mark, down at the Jungle.
Yeah.
Two sides buoyed by positive, strong results in the opening round.
We should see attacks on top here, shouldn't we?
Well, you would think so. I'm not sure that Castleford's win over Hull is necessarily something they're going to be able to parlay into a victory over you guys. Having said that, I just feel like it's going to be sod's law that having been pretty average and shit by your standards all season, that you guys are going to come into some sort of form. I do fancy this being an exciting game, though. I'm going for a 20 points to 24 victory in favour of your mob.
I think we've got a blueprint down for how we need to attack these 8s, even though we were playing against an inferior side because of their injuries and struggles that Wakefield had. I think that if we play into that mode, we can do to teams similar, not maybe as many tries, but certainly have as much attacking space and that sort of thing. I'm hoping that this happens at Castleford. And I'm going to go with Wigan to win 30 points to 20. That's not to write Castleford off, and they can score some great tries from everywhere, and they're an exciting team. I just sort of think Wigan maybe will be more prepared for this one than possibly Hull were for them last week.
Yeah. Perhaps the game of the week, though, sees St Helens taking on Catalan Dragons. There's a lot of ramifications in this one as these two teams look to get that fourth semi-final spot locked up at the end of the year. And honestly, I see this going in the way of St Helens. They just seem at the moment to have found some consistency in the halves. They've got Johnny Lomax coming back to, near the sort of form that he was in prior to all those horrific injuries. Perry's back in the side and looks like he's firing well. More importantly, Mark Percival's back in the side and looks to be going well. And the wing, now Owens is out on the wing. That looks to suit him a little bit better, and Adam Swift on the other side is equally as talented. I feel like at home at Langtree Park, St Helens, his pack will probably be the more dominant one, although this is a good battle as well. And it'll be a reversal of the result from this fixture earlier on in the season, I think, where Catalan were on good form this time when they all played each other at Langtree Park. I think the reverse is true now. It's going to be St Helens' victory, 28 points to 16 in favour of your Staines, Mark.
Yeah, I don't think Catalan can make the amount of mistakes that they've been making and get away with it against a Saints side that are coming right into the meat of the Super 8s with probably the best run of results of anyone, the best attitude they've seemed to display all year, and with an absolutely formidable front row. So I think that negates some of what Catalan can do to them, and if Catalan drop the ball, Saints will get on it. Like you say, Lomax is starting to fly. They've got pace outside with the likes of Swift and Owens. They can hop on in Percival, so they can jump on any opportunity that comes their way. I still think Saints are not brilliant.
Yeah.
But they are better than they have been. So I think they'll win, but I don't think it'll be a big margin. I'm going to go 24-18.
Okay.
You know, not to be just a Saints hating Wigan fan. I'd love to see this one go right down to the wire and be a either way kind of game. Mostly for the fact that this is the most exciting fixture in the competition at this stage.
Yes, I agree. Okay, final fixture of this round of Super 8 action sees Wakefield taking on Warrington down at Bellevue. This was the easiest one of the week to predict, even though Warrington weren't victors last week. There's still plenty of good stuff on display from them at times, and Wakefield, with the injuries that they've got, I'm not sure exactly who they're getting back looking at it from a Monday evening, but I can't imagine that there's going to be enough coming back to improve on how things were against Wigan. Warrington by 1 million for me, 40 points to 8 I've gone for.
I've gone 40-12. I think the same. I think Wakefield need to see this as a chance to get people into the side, give people experience, exposure, kind of work on a few things for next year maybe, and do what Hull did last year.
Absolutely, and of course you can keep up to speed on all the Super 8 action by following our friends at SL Clubs. On Twitter, they're big fans of the podcast, and we're grateful to all the support that at SL Clubs have given us. So in return for that, we'd like you to jump onto Twitter and give them a follow and let them keep you abreast of everything that's going on in Rugby League over the weekend. Right, into the qualifying 8s then, Mark. It's an all Super League tie as Leeds Rhinos take on Hull KR down at Headingley. KR buoyed by not a working performance, but doing what you would expect them to do against Batley, and Leeds doing similar against Featherstone. Tough to judge those two teams based on those performances, but I suspect that with Leeds' return to form, that they're going to run out winners in this one, particularly given how they're doing in the backs division. 30 points to 12 in favour of the Rhinos.
Yeah, they gave him a good beating whilst Hull KR massaged the score late on a few weeks ago, but they want to get one over back on them from the defeat they suffered at home to Hull KR early in the season.
Yeah.
One thing to look out for is, will Hull KR go after James Segayara after he ended James Green's season?
Well,
that's an interesting thing to look out for. But I just expect Leeds, with the form they're sort of showing, with the selection they're now able to put together, they can drop poor performing players for the first time probably all year, and they have done that. 36-16 I'm going to go for the Rhinos.
Fantastic. Perhaps the tie of this round sees Leeds Centurions taking on the Salford Red Devils down at the Sports Village, Mark.
Yeah,
it's a second home game in a row for Lee, and this is one that they could do with getting this would be an opportunity for them to get a result and, push on and try and get that either fourth spot or look perhaps at a third place and automatic promotion. I just feel like against Salford playing the way they are, with the recruitment that Salford have put into play, that might just get the Red Devils over the line. But what I do anticipate is a lot of points and it being a close game. I've gone 28 points to 30 in favour of the Red Devils. Yeah,
I'm not going to be able to get to Wigan Castleford, I don't think, this week. So I'm going to get down to this game on Saturday afternoon. I've cleared it with Emma, which is okay.
I didn't get in touch because I have fatherhood responsibilities this week.
Yeah.
Otherwise I would have come along.
Yeah. So, and I'm expecting it to be a bit of a blockbuster. I'm expecting Lee to come out quite strong and then Salford probably to just be stronger in the end. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Certainly two strong sides, two sides that have recruited heavily from the NRL going into this 8s as well from elsewhere. 28-22 in favour of the Red Devils. I am going for. I'm assuming it won't be an all ticket. I can pay on the day, can't I?
It's Lee, mate. They will sell it. Yeah. You'll be fine. It's Lee. It's Salford. They get 2,500 on for our home game.
No, but my worry is they're going to shut a whole stand at Lee.
You're in. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even worry about it. I mean, ring the club by all means. Don't take my word for it, but I would bet the farm that you'll be all right. Okay, London take on Batley down in Ealing then. It's a London win for me. They were unlucky not to pull it off against the Leeds Centurions, and I think Batley have pretty much met their matches in this portion of the season. 30 points to 14 I've gone for in favour of the Broncos.
I think this will be the one that Batley will be up for the most of all the games they play in the qualifiers, to sort of put a marker down to say we can compete.
Yeah.
But I just think it's even more important to London, really. It's a full-time club, and some of the players have got, it doesn't look like Sowell will miss the game.
No.
And those halves I think are really exciting.
Yeah.
A combination in attack. Plus, they've got some hard-working players like we talked about in the pack. So I can't see past London unless they have a bit of a, a bit of a lapse, given that it's a less